What's up, guys? It's time for the digital huddle, and this week I'm kicking off starting a new series talking about a book that we've been teaching for all of our staff, and we'll go back to doing interviews again in the future, but we're gonna take a little break to go through a book that I just believe is so powerful, one that I was introduced to years and years ago that really helped change the way I think when I walk into a situation, when I'm planning an event, when I'm trying to lead a meeting, or just whenever I'm writing my sermons. All those things come into play from a book like this one. It's called The Power of Moments. If you don't have it, I would suggest you get it. Get the audio book, get the physical book, whatever is good for you. I like to take books physically and write a lot of notes inside of them, but that's me. But what I'm going to do is I'm not going to teach like chapter 1 today, chapter 2 next week, or I'm not going to do like that. What I'm going to do is just teach it until we're done. So chapter 1, I already know is going to be broken into at least 2 weeks, and we're just going to kind of go because these videos are only 10 minutes long, and there's so much in this that we're going to try to pull out, because ultimately at the end of the day, we all have these defining moments in our life, don't we? There's these defining moments that happen in our life, these meaningful moments that stand out in our memory. What's yours? What are some memories that you have that just kind of stand out? Maybe from you when you were a child, or maybe when you accepted Christ. Maybe it was a vacation that you took with your children. Whatever it is, there's maybe these memories that stand out for you. I remember when I was 5 years old, my parents told me that we were going shopping, and we were just driving, and I was 5. I didn't want to go shopping, and we pull up, and my mom was like, all right, well, look out the window. We're finally here at the store. And I looked out the window, and we were at Disneyland, and it was the first time I'd ever been to Disneyland. I was 5 years old, and that was a moment. I still remember that moment, even though I'm 39. I remember that moment when I was 5 because it stood out. It was a defining moment in my life, and all throughout my life, there's multiple moments that I can think of. I can think of the time when I was baptized. My grandfather was a pastor. He did it for me in my backyard, and we had like 30-something friends there watching whenever I was celebrating, taking that next step in my walk with God. And there's so many moments that I can go back to and go, this is a defining moment, right? And so I want you to think about, what are some defining moments? Maybe you just went on a trip this last summer, and there's some defining moments that you're like, oh yeah, that's a defining. I remember that. That was really funny. Oh man, that really stood out. That was really memorable. Oh man, for our anniversary, my husband or wife, they did this. This really stood out. There's these defining moments. And if you really think about those defining moments, what you're going to find is that they are many times peaks and pits, right? They're the things that are on either side of the extreme. They're peaks and they're pits. They're the things that we really remember whenever something. I just went to Universal Studios with some family a few weeks ago. It was the worst experience I've ever had. And even though there was a lot of things that happened that day, I had 2 times that day where I had a employee make really bad decisions, really bad choices. And what happened was it created 2 different pits in my day. Now, when I think back to that day, even though there's so many amazing things, what I do is so oftentimes I remember those 2 pits, right? So oftentimes what we do is we forget about all of the moments and we hold on to the peaks and the pits. Matter of fact, you'll find in chapter 1, there's a study that talks about Disney and with Disneyland, and talks about if you were to evaluate yourself throughout the day, your average would be different than if you just evaluated yourself one time a month after your trip. What I mean is this is, if you evaluated your day and you said, well, okay, I'm on vacation, we're going to Disney World, I got my family of 5, and I'm doing evaluation, we just woke up, so things are going good. I'm going to give it a 7.5 right now. Things are good, we're eating breakfast, excited for the day. Then we get into the park, and there's no lines to get into the park. Oh man, things are great. I'm giving it a 9. This is perfect. This is awesome. A few hours later, a ride breaks down after we've been standing in line for 45 minutes. Well, that's a bummer. I'm going to give that one a 4 at this evaluation, right? A couple hours later, I go to evaluate again. Well, now we got to ride Space Mountain, and we had the best time ever. 10. But then we A couple hours later, go to do the evaluation. Well, I've been standing out in the sun for an hour for a ride that ended up breaking down again. I'm going to give that one a 1, right? And what you do is over the course of the day, if I was to take the average of all of those different evaluations, I may look at that and say, well, my trip was a 6.5, right? It's like a D. But if I was to wait to evaluate until a month later, what will happen is all I'll do is I'll think back and I'll be like, man, remember going on Space Mountain? Remember how easy it was to go in? Remember into the park? And remember all these moments that were peaks? And there was a few pits, but what will happen is I'll change my average. My average won't be 6.5. My average might be like 9, 8.5, something like that, something much higher. Why? Because psychologically, I will actually throw out some of these average moments, even some of the lower moments, because my mind will remember the peaks and the pits. And that's all about a defining moment, right? We need to define moments in our life and in other people's lives. You are a leader. You are leading on the dream team. You're leading in your family. You're leading at work. And so I guess what I want you to really focus in on today is think about some of the defining moments that have happened in your life. What are they? Maybe discuss them with your team today. Like bring up some memories of these defining moments that you have had in the past. What do they look like? And then what I want us to do is I want us to talk about creating defining moments. What can we do to create defining moments for other people? Because you had them too. This is one of the reasons you're here at Generation Church, right? You walked in at one point and had defining moments. What were those? Did you walk in and think, oh my gosh, this place is awesome. Look at, they got a coffee bar? Oh my gosh. And that fireplace is beautiful. And the kids ministry they're so friendly there. And now people are holding open the door and, oh, I know exactly who to ask. They're wearing like the same shirt. I get this. I don't feel confused. I don't feel lost. I know what to do. And what was it like for you when you walked in? What were some of the defining moments for you when you walked into GC? And then what I want you to do is think about how we can create defining moments for others. You know what I mean? This last week, we had a lady who was new to our church, and after service, we had already packed up everything, and she was kind of lingering around, and she had found a book that she wanted in the resource center. And so she was trying to figure out how to pay for it, but we had already kind of closed up and locked up those things. And so someone came and got me, and I was trying to figure out how to use the Square, and we couldn't get the card reader to work. And she's like, oh, I'll just do it next week. It's okay. I said, no, you know what? How about this? This one's on us. Just enjoy it. And it, like, for her, all of a sudden she was like in shock. Like, are you, no, I couldn't do that to the church. I'm like, no, absolutely. It's a gift from us to enjoy the book, enjoy this resource. I want you to have it. And she like started crying, just like so happy that I would be that nice to her. Now, let's be honest. It was just a $20 book. But what it did was it created a defining moment for her. Something out of the norm happened where she all of a sudden had this gift. What she may do is go home, and it may have been a evaluation of a 6 that, well, there wasn't anyone there to actually sell me the book. And I was looking around, I felt a little bit lost and a little confused, and that's a little disheartening for me as a new person. But then all of a sudden, that will go away whenever the defining moment sticks. When it was, wait a second, no, they saw and they loved me enough just to gift me a free resource. Is a defining moment. So what are yours? What are your defining moments? What are you going to hold on to? So for the next weeks to come, what we're going to be doing is unpacking this book, Defining Moments, the power of a moment. It's showing how powerful moments really are in our life at all times, but at the exact same time, what I want you to do is learn how to make these moments for other people. And you'll see throughout this book, there's so many different examples of different organizations and different companies and different business people and different places that what they've done is they had a plan and then they realized they needed to create a moment for people. Now, this isn't a Christian resource. This is a business resource. And so you may see it through that lens, but I want you to see it through God's eyes, really, because I believe that we serve a God who creates many, many, many moments for us. And I want us to start paying attention and seeing the moments that are all around us that really, truly can be defining. So with that said, listen, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. Make sure you sign up for the men's breakfast that's happening on Saturday if you're watching this before Saturday. Also, ladies, make sure you sign up for the Devoted event coming up in September. You need to be there. Get in a group as well. Freedom is happening. Freedom groups are so good. If you haven't gone through that, you really need to. That's just a baseline thing. So make sure you sign up for those things. All that said, I can't wait to serve with you on Sunday. See ya.